what's going on. Daniel, I believe we met in the campaign trail, and nice time, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to make this brief because I know there are a lot of people that are planning to speak, but in all honesty, the economy is not recovering. We all know that. All we've done is replace about 12% of the GDP we lost with federal spending and deficits. And if we were actually paid for federal programs like Medicare and Social Security, we could cut the military by 100%. We could cut everything but those programs and increase taxes 100%. And we still wouldn't be able to fund it. My concern here, and by the way, I think anybody that would want to have your job right now in the next coming years needs their heads in for obvious reasons. But my question to you is, and I hate to ask this, but it needs to be asked, do we have a plan in place, or are we going to have a plan in place? Let's just say the federal rug was pulled out from under us for, everything?
Well, I mean, it's been partially pulled out, as you know. Stimulus dollars are done. That represented a lot of support for the state of Connecticut. That's not going to come, and some of the anger about this budget actually does reflect that. And our approach to that is one of balance. I've managed to make everybody mad. And I don't disagree with you that over the long run, our relationship with federal government may in fact change. In fact, I hope the federal government gets serious about its debt situation. But I also hope it does it over time, not all at once. I was with Tim Geithner, the Secretary of the Treasury, and with the head of Moody's Analytics. And both of them made the point that the government pulled back. Municipal government, state government, and federal government, which will represent about 250,000 jobs over the next year, and additional spending, will actually hold down the growth in the GNP by about 0.5%. So if we got to 3, it would have been 3.5. If we got to 3.5, it would have been 4. I hope that we don't have to do too much of this overnight, and that we didn't get in the federal side into this problem overnight, and we shouldn't expect to get out of it overnight. We need to make sustained progress. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're going to take 5 more, and I apologize.
So if there's a same, maybe the people behind, if they could blend their questions a little bit. Go ahead.
I'm brand new.
I'm not picking on you. Hi.
Welcome, Governor Malloy. My name is Sandy Ewing, and I'm chairperson of the Preston Redevelopment Agency. We are the agency tasked with cleaning up the former Norwich State Hospital property, owned by the state, 390 acres, 55 buildings, $35 million cleanup cost. Should have been the state, but we were willing to take this on. What we're asking for you is we've been able to get funding from the federal EPA, but the state doesn't want to talk to us. We think there are some purse strings that could be loosened. DECD is administering money from HUD. It's not even their money, it's Fed money, but they won't talk to us. We've heard that your appointment, that you were interested in helping southeastern Connecticut. $35 million cleanup needs jobs and needs income for this area. So I hope that I can give you my business card and that we can sit down and talk about this.
You can, but I want to make a point. I would not have disposed of that property the way that the state did. In my opinion, the state should have cleaned it up and retained its position as the chief developer of the property.
But we have 10 volunteers now who are working 20 hours a week. We're willing to do it. We're just asking for a little help.
No, I know, but I want to make a point.
Okay.
I wouldn't have done it that way. I think the state has an obligation to clean up its own mess. And by the way, in cleaning up its own mess, there should be an upside for the state as well. And somehow that math escaped earlier administrations, and I don't understand it. We're going to have a similar problem in another large facility in the state of Connecticut, and I promise you it won't be dealt with the same way. So, maybe we need to look at restructuring our relationship, the communities and the property. And I'm open to that. But there also, if there's going to be an expense side, there has to be an upside. Okay, great.
We're offering
well, bigger than that, so. I think this is going to be about sustenance. What do you think? There you go.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Carol McShay,
Hi, Carol.
and I'm a cancer survivor and the parent of a child with a chronic disabling disease. Every year, my health care premiums go up, my coverage goes down. Between co-pays and deductibles, my savings is depleted. What my question is to you is, are you willing to work with people like myself to implement sustenance?
Well, and you know what my answer to this is. What I'm working very hard at, and assembling a team with Jeanette De Jesus as the lead, along with the Lieutenant Governor, is implementing the federal changes that were enacted last March. As you know, a lot of the work on sustenance was done before it appeared that we would get some progress in the federal government. We have to, for instance, construct an exchange where people will go for subsidized health care. And we're putting a lot of time and effort into that. Do I believe that every person should have access to quality health care in an affordable way? The answer is yes. But I have a lot on our plate right now, not the least of which is to build the exchanges we're required to do. Now, there are some interesting changes that the President himself started to talk about a week ago, giving some more latitude. So we're going to look at those changes. But if you're asking me, is the state of Connecticut in a position to accept a substantial financial burden this year? The answer is no, we're not. Do we want to build a program that will have better health care available to you as a survivor and to your child with a disabling chronic disease? The answer is yes. And we've got to work at getting that done. I'm getting yelled at for raising taxes by $1.5 billion, and I'm getting yelled at asking other people to make sacrifices. And as much as I would like to do what you're asking me to do today, the coverage there. On the other hand, I think it will quickly get better. For instance, in the federal plan, which a lot of people criticize, there's a 40% subsidy for small businesses to provide health care to their employees. That's a great thing, and will cover a lot of people. There'll be increased rates of reimbursement for expenses to states for different types of coverage. I think that's a good thing. I think we can build a better health care system, and we will build a better health care system in the state of Connecticut than just about any other state. But I didn't create this recession, and I'm struggling to deal with it right now, and I'm just trying to be honest. Okay, thank you.